So quickly, I'm going to ask the next question before I think these other questions somehow maybe you'll be able to answer it. It's quite long. I hope. Let me see if I can show the question. Yeah. So it said lately many data analyst roles job description include SQL. Just talking about so many skills they ask for, some of which are like a combination of machine learning, data analyst role, data scientist role, a bit of data engineering, pipeline, and all. It's like a combination of so many things. And he's wondering how do we navigate that? That this isn't a single role, but an entire analytic field. How do we deal with cases like that? I believe you know about something like this. Yeah, it's quite
Wow, that's
long.
interesting. It is quite
Yeah,
long.
yeah.
Um, so it says the job description includes. So no, so they should be a difference. So I think some things are must-haves, others are should-haves. So if something
True.
is, if so, the job description may list this so that then if you come with all these, wow, great. But if you
Mm-hmm.
come with, let's say you've got Tableau experience, but you've also got Python and you've got SQL. So once they are able to break it down to say these are our must-haves, and if this person doesn't have these, then we're not taking them. So there's others that are desirable. So if you've got the ability to study all of them and have them on the table, great. So the job description should be specific to say these are desired aspects of that role. As per any role, even if it's not data, every role needs to have a line drawn in the middle for their desired skills and qualifications, as well as the ones that you must have before you can be taken on for that job. So basically, you just have to be able to articulate, like I said, articulate it at the top of your CV or in the text box on the side to say, this is maybe I'm working on getting a qualification on this, but at the moment, these are the skills I have.
Mm.
I think I
Okay.
said it at the opening that communication is very important and powerful. So how you communicate within your CV is important so that you sell yourself and not sell yourself short.
Hmm. Sell yourself and not sell yourself short. Okay, I believe people they're writing already, so I'm here with my pen. I must tell you. Good. Oh yeah. So that said, how much skills, or let me say, what percentage should I match or have when it comes to the requirements before I go further to apply for the job? Should I have 100%, 60%,
I'm
50?
not
What's
good with
the
numbers.
yeah?
So
Just
because I'm a
want.
people person, I always prefer that once you've been able to get the right words in there and have the right communication. For me, a good as do you know what? Like I don't even want to give it in percentage. I know why I'm saying this. So once your CV has the right profile summary, you could potentially be a person that doesn't even know how to communicate and speak to me properly about your experience. But if you come in and become personable within the interview itself, then you might get this job, not because of the list of experience. And I suppose you've mentioned it earlier that most times you don't get asked for your certification. The reason for that is because there's evidence that some people just have the ability to, which we used to write on our CVs back then, a can-do attitude.
Mm, mm,
So
mm, mm,
that is still marked as part of getting a role. So
mm,
it can never be in percentage form because if we just took people based on their CVs and we say, wow, good CVs, all these guys should be hired, then we're hiring probably a bunch of the same people. You're hiring everybody maybe with the same level of technical balance or same level of technical knowledge. If they are all not people, or they are not very good with processing data, or they're not good with other things except for what they've written on their CV, we're just going to hire the same people. And you
mm.
don't want that in a culture, in an organization. You want to be personable. So hence why the ATS system will shift and will sift, sorry, not shift, sift all the things that are not, if your CV is not good quality in the first place, it will take it out. The ones that we start to then screen and consider are the ones that have a potential of turning into a conversation. So once you've then got all well, it won't be all the details that we need, but it will be necessarily those main or keywords that we said we want to see. So once you've got the keywords in, that's why if a role is recruiting for, like I said, I'm not good with maths. So if a role is recruiting for 2 positions,
mm,
it's easy for 100 people to apply. And then the shortlist will be 20 because they're looking for a quality candidate. When the shortlist goes to 20, those people will be brought forward into interview. So can you imagine as well, 20 people will be sent, come to interview, first stage. And from those 20 people, it will be sifted back down to 10, which will then come for the second process, second phase of the interview, where then that
mm,
person is given an opportunity to give us a big Power BI presentation and show us how they've resolved a reporting issue or query. When
mm,
these people start to speak and they do a demonstration, in front of, whether it's online, like how we are now, or it's within the office premises, we are starting to pick up certain skills. Are they open? Are they able to speak and make us smile? Are they engaging the room? So it's no longer about data analytics. It's no longer about you as a software engineer or a data engineer. It's now just
mm,
about how you present yourself. How kind are you? Do you smile? So it's the emotional intelligence. Are you picking up that people are falling asleep within this meeting? And how are you
mm,
re-energizing them? So it can't be a percentage. It
mm.
can't be a percentage. So preparing for a job now has become such a skill on its own, separate to what you have mastered it at uni or college or within your
Mm.
spare time on Coursera.
Wow. Wow. Thank you so much. So again, you're saying if I mean, from what I got from that is go ahead and apply if you've
Yes.
got some skills. You don't have to match it 100%. They have more to do. You have more to offer if you're able to get into the room and you're able to communicate your skills. You're able to, show that emotional intelligence and all sort of things, connecting with them. Leaving an impression that is good
Mm.
behind. Wow. Okay. Good. For me, I usually say once it's 50%, just go ahead, or 60%. To some, it might feel like you're pushing people.
Yes.
You're pushing people to into the fire or something. I say no, no, because for me, I mean,
No.
I've experienced that. I didn't match all the skills or the requirements for the jobs I've gotten in the past, and I built most of them on the job. And I got in to realize that all the things listed were not all used at once. Sometimes it took me
Yeah.
about 8 months into the role before I even started using skill A or B, and it was in the requirement, meaning that I had enough time to, figure it out if really I wanted to use them. And it might even be a tool or a skill that you just have to use once. You click it today, and then you're not using it again for the next 1 month. And so it's if
Mm.
you because of that decided not to apply for the job because they asked for it, I say go ahead and apply and let them be the one to say we don't want you in the room. You know, don't judge yourself, don't count yourself out, don't remove yourself from the list before they even do so. That's my own mentality and the way I think about this thing. And it's good that you said you can't even put a percentage to it because there are a lot of other things that they check, not only your skills, not only your certificates or whatever it is. They're looking at even other things, soft skills, and how you communicate and connect with people. And that's so good. Thank you so much.
You
There
know
is a
that
question. Yeah.
the fact that you've said this, that people should go ahead and apply. I'm sure a
Mm,
lot of people don't know that you can actually, and I say demand in quotes, you can actually demand the feedback of why they didn't take you. So when you're demanding the feedback, you're actually saying, which skills did I not have, but which skills did I demonstrate that I did not carry that you actually wanted me to have? So that's something that people don't know. When you apply for a job, you need to ask for feedback.
mm. Wow. Ask for feedback. I encourage this, and it's good to hear you say it again. And people are
Mm,
too scared to ask. They also I
mm,
think some people they say they don't want to even hear the feedback. Once they get the rejection email, they are sad already. They just want to close the chapter and move on to the next one. And I say that every field interview, it's like a step forward, to the next one, to the right one. Keep going for it, keep trying, keep getting the feedback, iterating, improving on it, and then eventually we get the right one. Yeah. Thank you. There's a question here. I'm going to bring it up to screen now and say, what is the best platform to use for application in your view as a data analyst or BI developer? I don't believe LinkedIn is effective again. I think it's more of a generic question. Yeah.
mm. That's interesting.
Mm.
Which is the best platform? I know the platform and I'm trying to think of it off the top of my head. Don't worry, I'll come back to you with that one. I know the
Okay, good.
platform, what it's called. But one of the things that I think, so the struggle with LinkedIn is maybe our search, the way we use our search bar.
Mm.
If you're saying in is not effective again, might mean that you might have the knowledge of being able to search and delve deep within the like the Boolean search, making sure you've put your quotes so that it locates, it really, if you use the filter as well, you should be able to get, what's that? um I know it, but it's not coming to my head right now. But that's one of the best. Don't worry, when I get it, I'll send it to the chat. I need to find it. So yeah, I know that platform works well, but also another thing that might cause that LinkedIn is not effective after you've done all you needed to do with the filters, you've played around with those location wise, you've worked with your Boolean searches, you've made sure that you've put the quotation marks. Um, I sense that there's a strong competition with especially data analytics.
Mm.
So the competition is high. The roles are present, they're there, but because some roles have gone remote, well, some companies have decided to accept both hybrid and remote roles. The level of that role, whilst it's still a demanded role, the competition is higher because there's now a wider talent pool that than you could have imagined maybe 2, 3 years ago. So
Mm.
more people have gone and studied data analysis and they've done all these developer roles. They've probably mastered it at like maybe technical level, also studied it. And then when you come back and present yourself, there's loads of people there. So
Mm.
that's why standing out is very important. Um, and it's so interesting. I wish I could ask his name is Yomikun, right? So I wish I
Yeah.
could ask you, how what is it that is no longer effective that used to be effective for you? Because from my own standpoint, the roles are there, but the number of people that are applying for those roles is quite high at the moment.
Wow. Thank you very much. I mean, like you said, if you say something is no longer working, that means you have an idea of how it was working before, right? Before you could say it's no
Mm,
longer. And I like that.
yeah.
Let's have the statistics of how it worked for you in the past and how it's not working now. Because for my experience, which I
Mm,
don't want to believe is the same for everybody, and for the people in my domain, people I've mentored from the accelerator and all, I've gotten almost all my jobs on LinkedIn from LinkedIn. Recruiters get to reach out to me
mm,
asking for um, my view on a particular job to see if I'll be interested. It matches my experience and all. And like you mentioned, Boolean search. I have once shared on LinkedIn different ways and methods to actually use this to their advantage. Well, some of it is to change the filter when it comes to the job search part, change it to
mm,
24 hours, and then there is something on the status bar or the address bar that is called TRP, yeah, equal to RAT 6400. What that means is that the time is actually converted into seconds, and which is 24 hours is converted to 86,400 seconds. Now, meaning that the earliest you can see is 24, a job that was posted 24 hours ago. So I tell people you can actually break that down, change the 86,400 to 3,600. That's 3,600, and then you get jobs that was posted an hour ago, 30 minutes ago. With that, you're able to see the job early and apply early, and that
that's just
one thing has been giving results. Also, don't just apply to jobs. Once you see the person who posted a job or the name of the recruiter attached to the job, reach out to them directly. Pitch yourself. Send your CV over. Don't just apply and wait. And like you said, then the Boolean search for recruiters that are currently recruiting,
yeah.
hiring data analysts, headhunter, data analysts, something like that, and you see them. So for me, LinkedIn gives about 100 to 200 connection opportunities per week. And I say to people, use them up. At least connect with 50 recruiters so that when you are making posts, like you said, being able to stand out, you're making posts about your experience, your skills, what you're working on, what you're doing. They're the ones who should be seeing your story. You should be understanding your experience from that angle so they can reach out directly. So if you're not connecting, it's wasting. Every week they give you another set of 100 or 200. connect to the right people, CEOs, people getting funded, and all sort of things. That for me is like the templates I use and has been working. And I want to tie it to the next question about if you see a job that
Yeah.
was posted, an advertisement, and they say it says 100 people applied, on LinkedIn, that's what you see for data analyst roles, especially in England. 100 people applied within the last 4 hours, 1 hour, 600 plus people within the last 24 hours. Do you advise people to still go ahead and apply for that kind of job? Yeah, I know ATS must have screened out a lot of people, because I say this because of people that goes on spending extra hours trying to tailor CVs and then come back to see that a lot of people have applied for it. What's your chance, when it comes to
Mm.
having 100 people apply for a job already and you want to try it? Does it really even work again? Maybe this is one of the experiences of this person, who asked the question. Let me see. While we wait for Lerato to get her connections back properly, would want to answer my that question in my own way about the effectiveness of LinkedIn. For me, it's been a useful platform. I use other platforms like Indeed, CV Library. And what I use CV Library for, when I mentor people or train them on the accelerator program, is to get contacts of recruiters and call them directly. If you go on CV Library, you can always get numbers or the contact of recruiters, emails, preferably numbers, and call them. People are very scared of calling recruiters. And I say, why? Why do you want a job, right? You should be proactive enough to give them a call. Calling them directly shows confidence, and it will push you up the list quickly because now they have an idea of who you are. They're probably on the lookout for a CV, and you have the opportunity to even share your CV with them directly. So why not go ahead on to CV Library, type search data analyst, select your location, the radius, get the number. You can also do the same thing. In fact, if the number is not on CV Library, but you saw the name, you can come and search for the name of the recruiter on LinkedIn and connect to them, connect with them directly and say, I found this job on CV Library, and you're currently employing or recruiting for this role. I have the skill set, blah, blah, blah. This is what I can do. This is what I've done. And this is my CV for your perusal, and allow them to come back to you. All right. Thank you. So, do you want to take that question again and about if one should still go ahead and apply for jobs after seeing 100 people, 200 people applied? And how do you navigate that? Do
Oh,
you
I don't
think it
like
will
this
still
question.
yield results?
Yes, so I think the question was a very powerful question because obviously, if 100 people have applied, it doesn't mean that you won't be chosen. I think I always say this, it sometimes goes by grace. It takes a lot. So, my example earlier of like a profile setup, making sure you've highlighted your skills at the top, make sure you've got your skills, box at the side of your profile, that on its own starts to sell you into a space where you might find that from 100 it will dip down to 20 and you can be the one of the selected ones. Never lose courage, because I think one of the interesting things I wanted to say, please keep me informed if you can't hear me. So one of the things I wanted to say is that because of how earlier I mentioned looking for a job has become a skill on its own. And I think as you were saying that, you're mentioning how to do the Boolean searches and create that. A lot of people don't have this knowledge. A lot of people don't understand how serious the storytelling aspect on LinkedIn is. Like, it's so important how you sell yourself every day. It doesn't have to be every day, but you create a brand out of yourself from your CV on LinkedIn. I think if we really sit down and get to understand the importance and the power of LinkedIn, it's really not for socializing like how you do it on Facebook and all the other social medias. It's really there to really sell a brand which is you. So that's the most important part. So when you've got that, so because recruiters actually look at your story, so don't believe it or not, they do. People don't know this as well because they think I don't have to post anything, I don't have to do anything, I'll just go and use my LinkedIn just to draft, match it to my CV. But recruiters want to see beyond that CV. I can't stress that much. Like, they really do. So when you've got stories of what you've done, you've done or what you've achieved in your previous roles, even better. Even better. You go beyond the person that's got so much experience, maybe even a university degree, and you've just got like a bunch of skills you've learned off YouTube. So don't ever discredit yourself, because it's not just by one thing. Being somebody that's taken on board in a business comes with so much wealth. If somebody's recruiting you into their company, they want you to bring a lot of different variations of skills. So don't ever look down on your 101 application.
Wow, thank you very much. And
I hope you can
now this
still
is
hear
just
me.
why.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, sure, sure. I think recruiters have reached out to me, and recently one of the interns at the accelerator at London Center for Analytics got a message from a recruiter, and the recruiter asked I can sent a job description for a particular role that is wondering if she could be interested in, or she wants to apply for the job. And the job has the things she's currently working on it, and she doesn't have that thing on her CV yet, or on her LinkedIn. So she was wondering, how did if the recruiter know that I'm working on this currently? Then she later remembered that she made a post about it like a week or 2 weeks before that time, where she was explaining one of the blockers and how she was able to resolve the problem using that particular tool and all. So I'm sure, like you said, now the recruiter has actually gone through her profile, saw that particular post, stumbled on it, and then reached out to her. And if I know, I think she's currently on the second or almost the final stage of interviewing for that role. And I say this a lot of time, but it's good that you're putting flesh to it now, to say adding flesh to say, yeah, we look at your profile, we look at your story, not only your skill set, your experience, what have you been talking about? And you said it's not just a social media platform. It is very easy to stand out. I'll tell people over a billion people on LinkedIn, and 1% actually show up to post. 1%. So it's just you'll be shocked
Mm.
how quickly you will get to the top when you just start showing up consistently with your message and how you're improving on your skills and doing stuff. And maybe that's something we need to do differently now, like very pay more attention to than just applying for jobs without really telling your story differently. How do you stand out, like you said, if you're not doing this? Ah, thank you very much.